with 10 commitments to America: to balance the budget through spending reduction, and to champion tolerance and freedom, especially a woman's right to choose. These commitments embody my core beliefs as a fiscal, economic conservative and social libertarian.
One of the criticisms I make is to what I refer to as more of a libertarianish right. They have this idea that people should be left alone, be able to do whatever they want to do. Government should keep our taxes down and keep our regulations low, and that we shouldn't get involved in the bedroom, we shouldn't get involved in cultural issues. That is not how traditional conservatives view the world.
We need to keep the government out of our pocketbooks, off our backs, and out of our bedrooms. Regrettably, there are those in our party who would lead us down a different path. A different path which would squander this unique moment in our nation's history by using our political capital to pursue a radical social agenda. A radical social agenda which would end a woman's right to choose and mandate school prayer. When Pat Robertson says there is no constitutional doctrine of separation of church and state, I say he is wrong.
I don't believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute.
The First Amendment, freedom of religion, is as important today as when the Bill of Rights was first written. And when Pat Buchanan calls for a holy war in our society, I say he is categorically wrong. We do not need holy wars.
This is not a political war at all. This is not a cultural war at all. This is a spiritual war. And the father of lies has his sights on what you would think the father of lies, Satan, would have his sights on. A good, decent, powerful, influential country, the United States of America. If you were Satan, who would you attack in this day and age? There is no one else to go after other than the United States. And that's been the case for now almost 200 years. We all know that this country was founded on a Judeo-Christian ethic, but the Judeo-Christian ethic was a Protestant Judeo-Christian. And so they attacked mainline Protestantism, they attacked the church, and what better way to go after smart people who are also believe they're pious, and to use both vanity and pride to go after the church. After that, you start destroying the church and you start destroying academia. The culture is where their next success was.
I've heard people say that they think Arlen Spector's a liberal.
Arlen Spector cast the deciding vote in favor of a Recovery Act that has helped pull us back from the brink.
Arlen is with us on the votes that matter to move our agenda forward for this president and for the country.
Because you know he's going to fight for you regardless of what the politics are.
I'm proud to endorse Arlen Spector.
I love you and I love Arlen Spector.
Do you have a response for conservatives that are concerned that you endorsed Arlen Spector over the conservative alternative? You know, that's what they're saying.
Thank you. Can we get through here? Thanks. Thank you.
You know, they've taken a lot of comments I've made in the past to different audiences and said, you know, well, this is what Rick Santorum believes. But, of course, you know, what I believe in my own personal faith is one issue. If you look at my record is whether, you know, I'm going to impose every religious tenet and teaching of the church is outrageous and is offensive.
For our viewers who don't understand what happened, you were the incumbent Republican senator. Pat Toomey challenged you. He mounted a conservative challenge to you in the Republican primary. And Rick Santorum did support Arlen Spector. Let's listen to what he said last night, Senator. He said he supported you only after a conversation in which you made a promise. Let's listen.
So Arlen Spector, as chairman of the Judiciary Committee, we had a conversation. He asked me to support him. I said, will you support the president's nominees? We had a 51-49 majority in the Senate. He said, I'll support the president's nominees as chairman.
Speaking there of President Bush's nominees for the Supreme Court and other high judicial nominations, Senator Spector, did you have that conversation? Did you make that promise?
No.
No, never happened?
I made no promise about supporting anybody. I wouldn't do it. It would be wrong to make a promise in advance of knowing who the nominee was and what the qualifications were.
He says that you asked for his support. He ultimately gave you his support, and he says you had the conversation. Was he making that up last night? Is he misunderstanding something?
Well, I'm telling you what the facts are. I'm not going to undertake any characterizations.
Well, so then what went through your mind when you heard of this exchange? He says, Arlen Spector is chairman of the Judiciary Committee. We had a conversation. I said, will you support the president's nominees? He said, I'll support the president's nominees. You say it never happened. What do you make of hearing this?
Well, it may be politically expedient for him to make that response, but I can't read his mind. You can draw inferences as well as I can. What I can tell you are the facts.